Blessings, BookTube. It occurred to me that I think I've done a novella or two. I've certainly done some plays which are shorter, but I'm not sure that I've ever done any reviews for you of shorter narratives. So here, without further ado, is Francois Mauriac's Man of Letters. It begins with an epigram which reads, "Literature is full of lepers who stand by the roadside and cry, 'Look at my fine sores!' and they bare their skin. But the passers-by do not stop." Mauriac studied at the École de Chartres. To call him a Catholic author begs the question of the Pope's Catholicism. Suffice to say, the man of letters is named Jerome. In the first half of the story, we encounter him through his creation, Gabrielle, whom Mauriac compares to Hermione, to a D'Annunzio heroine, quoting that wretched Proudhon, "Loneliness fraught with kisses." There is a narrator there only because to yell alone in a sepulchre is beyond the power of any woman. Mauriac may be alluding to the viper's knot, nœud, so close to need, or nest in French, when he writes, "But there was no empty niche. Her life was full, crammed to the brim by an absence." Even though Jerome is the idol, Gabrielle the martyr, she is his creation in terms of human love. Wishing to refashion her after his own style, he had first been obliged to dismember her. But all he had been able to do was destroy her. Only God can create wholeness. And so he leaves as authors never open a book that is one of their failures. And all that is left to her is the refuge of oblivion, shades of Proust. This, though, Mauriac insists, is like telling an insomniac not to think of sleep. It is God's omniscience that helps him to endure the sorrows of the world. Naturally, he wants to understand. She wants to understand. She is stuck in a romantic view of artists, badly wounded creatures, pierced with arrows from all sides, from God and the most sublime abstractions, asking to what unknown beast Jerome secretly takes its victuals. But this ethereal vision runs into the realism of Jerome's satiety, confronting people too well known. This is the experience of all creators. The faithful heart that beats beside an artist fidgets him by its very beat, Gabrielle insists, superficially. But this vision of Jerome is false. "I discard one after the other of my masks," he says, "but when, having discarded the last, the world sees my unknown features, I doubt whether a single cry of terror will be raised." Jerome is a false god, leaving Gabrielle for a woman with sick children. I believe in lovers whose love is complete, just as I believe in angels. Somewhere people are singing to the harp, and there are beatings of wings. But where? For Mauriac, only divine love is worthy. Characterizing human love, Mauriac cites Lucifer, answering Eloah, sadder than ever. Jerome has his animalistic side as those fox-like men who always seem to have blood on their jaws, but has his sublime side as well. One is put in mind of what Schweitzer said of music by Jerome, explaining, "It's at the bedside of a sick child that the artist sips his nectar." Thus he turns from the poisonous beauty of Gabrielle Muse, always lying in wait for his every inspiration or whim, to the mother, body like a patch of plowed soil. Man ever prevaricated between his imperfect visions of God, abstract and aloof, incarnate and creative, or terrifying beyond our masks. In the second half of the story, Jerome is present to us more directly. Certain veils are lifted and others lowered. Jerome likes having samples of humanity under his eyes. How dare we live with creatures of our own invention, when all this living flesh and blood flows down the street like a flood? We're put in mind of Montesquieu's supposed Persians questioning Christian math and cannibalism come Eucharism, spun in the streets by the bustling crowd. Jerome claims himself a creator, fair game for God. So awake not one of his abysses can escape. The clear knowledge of ourselves plays into the hands of Catholicism. Quote, but Jerome is also a sample of humanity before our eyes. His ablutions are found in bottles. He sinks into the ecstasy of a simplified vision of heaven and earth. He sees himself the body of a friend, estranged, long buried, and exhumed from his own soul in the mirror of Gabriel. Yet insoluble problems cannot detain this human subject long. He protested his innocence. Gabriel is the open wound. Never can one reach the core of a human being except by love. But Jerome is not detained by such insoluble problems. He is false in this third act, the power of desire and suffering. He is his own observer and dupe. Possession is never achieved, never anything more than an overpowering presence. Our realist reverts to the romanticism of the necessary eternal feminine. We leave all this moonshine intoning with the narrator a hymn of deliverance.